Are you happy? I mean, what is happiness, really? Let's talk about it. Hello, and welcome back. Most of what I want to say today is an opinion, but it's an opinion I've formed over several years as a behavioral scientist and an aspiring economist. Economic theory is all about modeling and predicting human behavior, and a basic part of that theory is that faced with a decision, people will make the choice that brings them the most happiness. Now, unfortunately, that theory isn't always correct. People make dumb decisions all the time. Am I right? Comparing a person, the same person at different times in their life, you may expect that after good things happen, they're happier and they're less happy after bad things. And while there is some evidence that this is the case, the crazy thing is that with just a few extreme exceptions, the effects of these major events, whether good or bad, wear off after just a few years. And this is major events like finally graduating and getting a job, or marrying the love of your life, or having a child, or major losses like developing a disability or losing a loved one. In other words, whatever you're waiting for in life, that golden goose that will undoubtedly bring you out of your current funk of meh onto a plane of pure bliss, may for a short time bring you woohoo, but soon enough, as far as happiness goes, you're going to be right back where you are now. Economists and psychologists have many names and explanations for why this happens, but I'm going to skip all that and get down to what I think. After all, this is my video, and if you want to know what the professionals think, you can look up their articles on Google Scholar. Or you can read what my cousin wrote about them on Wikipedia. Am I right? So my basic premise is that most of life, anyone's life, will be neutral. If you total up all of the hours of your waking life and keep track of every emotion in every instant, then for most people, the most common emotion will be meh. Now, obviously, the saddest or the happiest or even the most boring events in your life will attract the attention of your memory when you think about it. But how do we feel when we're not thinking about how we feel, or when you don't notice any emotion at all? So let's talk about happiness. What is happiness? Happiness is the name that we give to emotions that feel good. It's an indication from within our physical bodies that something we have done or experienced is good. That food was so nutritious. Yeah, I made that. Hey, I feel safe with these people. So what is the secret to lasting happiness? Philosophers and pop singers have been discussing this question for thousands of years. Spoiler alert! There is no secret. All people, from all walks of life and every age, have an equal potential to feel a full range of emotion, including a full measure of happiness. We all experience good things and bad things, and except for maybe those who have alexithymia, or anhedonia, or psychopathy, we all experience good and bad feelings in response to those events. There is no secret to unending happiness, because there is no such thing. Happiness is an emotion. It's an evolutionary response that kept former versions of humans alive. When we find something that makes us happy, we want to do more of it. And if we can afford it, we usually do. Another thing, though, that humans do really well is adapt. Now, our brains are really good at noticing things that are different or out of place. But if we do something or experience something over and over again, it's no longer out of place. And unfortunately for our happiness sensors, we begin to notice it less and less. So short of always seeking a bigger and better high, the cost of which is likely too high for most of us, we're left with the need to change our paradigm about the way we think about seeking happiness. The new paradigm that I suggest looks like this. 1. Do things that make you happy, but know that the happiness will likely be temporary. Eventually it will wear off and you will have to pay the costs of your choices, so don't choose anything that has too high of cost. And 2, don't be afraid of bad things. Yes, bad things will happen, and yes, it will hurt, but you're human. And humans are awesome and really good at adapting. One final thought about the science of happiness. Researchers have found something interesting that is definitely worth mentioning. We know how to buy happiness. When given a small amount of money, people who were instructed to spend that money on other people reported higher levels of happiness than people who spent that money on themselves. See, we're social creatures. We're less like trees and lone wolves and more like prairie dogs. Apparently, one thing that's really important for us is good relationships. Being socially connected with family and friends, in essence, being part of a tribe, is more important than money or power or fame. In a recent interview with NPR, Pharrell Williams, the singer who wrote the song Happy for Despicable Me 2, said that he wishes that everyone could experience being rich and famous, so that they would know firsthand that it is not the secret to happiness. So I'm happy! So let's sum up with a few bullet points. All emotions, including happiness, are fleeting. Humans tend to be overly optimistic about the future. Future good things don't bring us as much happiness as we think they will, and future costs tend to be higher than we think they will be. People with more money, more power, or fame are not any happier than people without. And if you want to buy happiness, spend your time, money, and effort on building good relationships. Yep, that's all I want to say about that. Tell me what you think about happiness. Leave a comment below and we'll talk some more. And you don't